So YouTube has PEDA, which is vlogging every day in April. I decided to take it a little different and do a podcast every day in April. Yeah, I know it's August, but the last letter starts with an A. So we're doing a podcast every day in August. Tune in. You might like what you hear. This is the Past Podcast. Hey, what's happening? What's good? It is Tuesday morning. Past Podcast back. It's your host, BT. I wanted to sit down and go ahead and get the ball rolling because a lot of you may or may not be aware. I did briefly mention this, but I didn't go into full detail about it, that I would be doing a podcast every day in the month of August. For those of you who may have tuned in before, I did a podcast every day in April. Huge success. Had a few bumps and stumbles. You know, every day you can't get it done, but you try to get something, so you make sure you're ready to go. So it didn't go to the T per se, but I will tell you that this month should be stable to get it completed. There are a few things that I'm personally working on away from podcasting that may impede the process, but as with anything in life, the show must go on. I will tell you now, a couple of episodes will be from a different locale. I did mention that I was going to look to record in different locations. Unsure if that's allowed, so I don't want to take my chances in doing so. Unless I just happen to say, let me go ahead and get my mic, get my camera, my phone out, and record it that way. That was just the best stumble for the first podcast of the month. But it's not a big deal. Anyway, I did initially mention doing interviews. I kind of have a way of wanting to do that, but it's a matter of who is willing to be interviewed. Before I continue, I did change the intro and the outro. I do have did find a different song I'm going to use strictly for August. I may keep it, I may not. It probably will be changed at the end of the month strictly for the benefit of the show, since this is going to be for the August flow. What topics am I going to be talking about this month? That's a great question. I don't know yet. No, honestly, I do know. I have most of them written out. I mainly I probably will be, I don't want to say socially shutting down, but I will be kind of taking my little breaks here and there to work on, as I would call it, branding and just business-oriented tasks to make sure that everything kind of is a go with what I'm doing. So I do have those prepared. I will still, as you all know, on Saturdays, I'll still be doing my weekly episodes. The intro you'll hear for this show, or the intro you heard for this show, will be used for those episodes as well, since it is going to be in the month of in the month of August. If I said April starting out, it's not going to be edited. You know I'm in August, so just flow with it. August is a heavy month for me because a lot of birthdays. Of course, I can't really share. I can share birthdays or just say, hey, you know, if so-and-so is listening, they may not put names, then that'll kind of be my shout out and just kind of go from there. Getting closer and closer to my big day. Interesting fact of possibly podcasting that day, I don't know. It just comes down to the simple nitty gritty of if I have my mic with me and I happen to be up to it and ready and able to, then a show could probably be recorded. I will admit that there's been a lot of mental movement on my end from last month, from doing the podcast in April compared to doing it in August. You'll notice that as I go over things that we could possibly be talking about. Ironic fact, and I will go ahead and share this because it may tie into what could be coming down the pike. I did, if any of you do remember listening to the August, and here we go. If any of you remember listening to the April podcast, and one of the topics that came up was the Cali Dream. I'm not going to say that this is an update, but it's just kind of an ironic circumstance. One of the individuals who I follow on Twitch, he made his announcement that he was moving to Cali, but he did it in a very, very cordial yet unique manner. He had to figure out when he did his show, how to present it, how to make it look as though there was a reason of him moving, but he didn't want to say why he was moving. There was a possibility he was thinking about retiring, stop streaming, things of that sort. Well, long story short, he mainly told everyone that he was moving to Houston, only to find out, or his family got a job. His father got a job in Houston, only to find out that in reality his family wasn't moving anywhere. It was more or less he was moving, and he was moving into what's known as the 2K streamer house. So if y'all do know, any of my gamers who keep up with the gaming community know about the 2K streaming house, you probably may have watched the stream and heard that announcement as well. So I want to say this before I go any further with today's show. First and foremost, I guess I don't know how I did 5 minutes worth and didn't do this. Podcast is being recorded using the Blue Yeti microphone. As y'all know, I'm not saying that I'm trying to be sponsored by them, but low-key plugs. I would like to make sure I remember to mention them each week in the episodes. And the episodes are being recorded using Spreaker.com. I have kept the same page. I was in limbo whether I was going to get a new page. At one point, I almost thought I was going to go to Libsyn or Podberry, something else to store my podcast. Then I realized that's a lot of work. And it's not that I don't want to do the work for you all, but it's more or less having it, it's basically taking a house, looking at the house and saying, I like this house, but I don't like this location. So let me pull the whole house out of the ground and move it somewhere else. And that's not something you can just do in a couple of days, or it's kind of a challenging task to do. So I just kind of decided to stick to what's working. Spreaker has been very good to me. I haven't had any major issues or complaints with it so far. But that's just kind of where that is. I forgot how sensitive the microphone is this morning. But I just want to share with you all that I do have a lot of branding things that are coming down the pike. I will be pushing to share with you all more of what has changed over the months. And also, I'll go ahead and share this because I know I'd like to. This is what I was kind of going into sharing before I went into the network plug, because I am supposed to do that at the beginning, but I forgot. So life happens. Shout outs to Ashley Taylor. If you're not following her on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, I believe she has Facebook, A Taylor Y. She's been kind of working on her brand with her podcast as well. But I want to give her a shout out and say thanks, for everything that you've been helping me with. We've been kind of going back and forth with emails, and I know she's been trying to work on her stuff, so I haven't really bothered her too heavily. And also Martine Ellis. I've kind of networked with quite a few people from when I last did my podcast, or when I did the April podcast. Martine Ellis, I've been following her. I think Pinterest was what connected me to her, and now it's kind of second nature that when I post things, I just am ready to kind of say, hey, here's who you need to go to. Here's some things that she's introducing me to, that I'm introducing myself to, and it's been just a fluid, simple process. I am finally learning how to tag podcasts, so little things are coming into play that I'm glad I'm able to do now. Also, the Audacity to podcast. If you're not following him or you're not following his podcast, please follow his podcast and subscribe to it. He's definitely been in the markings and in the makings with doing what he's doing with giving you tips, tidbits, tricks. Like, it's it's a checklist that he has that is very thorough, but very beneficial to use. I won't say starting out podcasting, but when you're consistently doing a week to week or a day to day or however you do your podcast, it's things that you should remember to take in mind that a lot of us forget. Like for me, for instance, I'm slipping because this morning I didn't get a bottle of water. Usually I like to sit and have a bottle of water or something in the event that I dehydrate or something happens. But things happen, nothing to get all bent out of shape about. It was delayed. I guess this is me again. Y'all know I'm transparent when I do these recordings. There was a slight delay this morning to do the recording. I was up, I was ready. I kind of had like a general idea of like, hey, I'm going to just break ice and just talk about a few things that's going on and tell you all what's in store. But I was sitting here and I'm like, I don't have an image ready, so I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I thought about it and I said, you know what? I do have my podcast Every Day in August image that I had, and my podcast Every Day in April image that I had, and I was going to use that for the August episode, scratch out the PRIL and put UGUST, but then logic kicked in and common sense was better to just say, let's make a new one. So you'll see that image if you have not seen it already. And that's gonna kind of tie into what we have in store. So as you know, it's still presenting and promoting the mic and still me recording. So I truly do hope that you all tune in and get something out of one, if not multiple episodes. The weekly sports podcast is going to be heavier. I won't say I took a break because last week I did do a show which it went better than I expected, and I'll say that because y'all know I'm honest. But I will be back to doing my weekly episodes again for sports. There was a lot that's happened. I want to get all of those stories off the ground. I just want y'all to know, if you don't think I'm working on stuff, you might be surprised. The only difference and only impact that I can kind of come clean and saying is social media portrays it as if I'm not doing anything because I really don't post as much as I used to. And I'm okay with admitting that. Part of it is because I'm working on life transitions. Some of that you'll hear about this month. Just things have been coming, and I've literally had to just kind of say, let me make a decision, and I need to do what's best for me and my future. And I know I'm redundant in saying it. Just tune in. I'm going to be sure that I address those topics or discussions. One topic I am going to look forward to. I'm not going to jump into it now. A lot of them I'll probably be reading some information. I have some things that there's a lot of educational stories that I have because I've been able to catch a few stories and think about some people who have gone through specific situations. So that's as best as I can show my hand right now because I don't want to give you all too much, because if I give everything now, you have nothing to look forward to. So all I can tell you is keep on the lookout. Each day there will be an episode each morning, and I probably will be preparing images in advance. I may do like I did last year, kind of queue up a few episodes. I don't know, because queuing episodes is pros and cons to that, so I just want to make sure I remember that from last time. But that being said, and I do believe Canva will be my best friend again, because that was what helped me through April's podcasting excitement, and I'm hoping that'll be the same with August. So if you're not following already, I have multiple ways of you to check the podcast. The podcasts are being recorded on iTunes. They're on Stitcher. I'm on Google. We have the podcast now on podcasts.com. Let me make sure I get the correct link because I don't want to tell you the wrong location. Yes, it's podcasts with an S. So podcasts.com. If you go there and look for the past, you'll find that's probably going to be the one site that gives it an easier run to find it. I do post the podcast on www.passpodcast.com. Eventually, I'll slow down and get it together again. As y'all can see, I literally did an episode on Saturday, and I should not have forgotten how to do simple things like read and write. But it feels like I have, so there's that. But I do want to share with you all that if you have been listening and if you stuck around this long, I appreciate it. I know these are going to be those quick podcasts when you need to listen to something just to kind of get a story and get some information. So I'll be sure to make them informative. I feel as though with all that's been going on, since I don't talk about it in the weekly podcast, I may be using this podcast for another topic, and I'll get all my information together for that before starting. Let me just write that down. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know normally I am on my game, but today it's just easing into this thing again, because normally the daily episodes have a different flair and a different flow to them. So that's where I'm gonna leave you all today. Like I said, thanks for tuning in. If you're not already following past podcasts, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. I did update my Pinterest to tie into past podcasts, because I was realizing that my Bright 82 page was cool, but I've really seen myself using Pinterest more for business purposes, along with the fact that I am going to possibly be updating and uploading episodes to Pinterest. So be on the lookout for that. A couple have been leaked out there, and hopefully it kind of guides you to the right location. If it hasn't, I'm still working on that, so just give me time. I'm trying, y'all know I got y'all, you already know. But anywho, be safe, stay blessed, be positive, do something worthwhile. My new thing that I'm starting to do, and this is what's helping me today, and it's going to be what I'm really pushing to do from now on. Normally, before I go to work, I would have my room just be dark and not really do much anything, because I'm like, oh, it's dark and I don't want any light in. Well, I believe Ashley did this in one of her podcasts, and it was something that was mentioned. I might be wrong, but I'm not sure. It was a mention of go out and get fresh air. Now, the spinoff to that is, if you're not able to run out in the first moment and get fresh air, your alternative is open a window. Like, opening a window kind of exposes you to the reality that it's a new day. And it also kind of gets you up and going to kind of prepare and get your mind into whatever it is you're trying to get done. So that's what I was able to do. I attempted that and started it last week. Major success. So it's a consistent thing that I'm looking to do, and it will be a way of kind of giving me that I can look outside and just kind of relax and kind of get into my flow. So if I keep talking, y'all know I won't finish this podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and cap it here. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, Past Podcast signing out. Peace. Another show is finished. Another thought's been shared. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. You might have learned something new. Maybe something you already know. But regardless, you made it this far. So I'm glad you tuned in. Until next time, Past Podcast signing out.